I was on a FA trip in Atlanta, and it was like one of the last days of the trip, and we were skating in this parking lot, and like I was just like watching my friend do a trick, and I was kind of like riding my board through an intersection of a parking lot, and yeah, and then just like I turn around, and then boom, like there's no time for me to like do anything. And then it basically just hit me like directly in the kneecap. Like I got kneecapped pretty much. And I flew back, I just like grabbed my leg and I was like, oh fuck. And I didn't go to the hospital because I was like in denial that it was actually fucked up. And then um I woke up and it was like, you know, the size of like a fucking, it was just like super swollen. And then um went to the hospital, got an x-ray, and then they told me, that about the tibia plateau fracture. And then when I got home, I got an MRI, and then they were like, yeah, you tore your MCL. And so they didn't know if I needed to get surgery. And then like a couple months later, I went back and got another MRI. And then they were like, oh, you don't need to get surgery. So
Oh, they said you didn't need surgery?
no, yeah, I didn't have to get surgery. Basically, yeah, I just like, started doing like PT. Um, and I was like doing it like on and off. But yeah, that's it pretty much.
What were you doing during that time period? How did your mind feel, or like was it emotionally difficult? I talked to Cyrus Bennett, and he had like a knee injury that put him out of commission for a while. And that shit, like just in anything that you love to do and then you end up not being able to do it for quite a lot of time, not out of your own free will, it can be very difficult.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't really I knew that it would be devastating, but I think I like just tried to maybe like pretend like it was all good, that I didn't really care. Um, and like it turned out to just be like the worst thing ever. And like if I could go back and like do it again, I would just do everything in my power to kind of to just like focus on like recovering and all this other stuff I was doing, because I was doing like other stuff. Like I had like an art show, and I was still like hanging out with friends, and like I wish I had just like focused 100% on like recovering, because your health is really like is so important. And I was also living in New York at the time, and just like it wasn't really like the top on my list of stuff, like my health. And now, you know just having like gone through that whole thing, yeah, it was devastating though, man, for sure. Like mentally, um it is, skating is like my way of self-expression, and I just love skating. And the physicality of it is great. Um, and the social aspect of it. Yeah, so I was just like very like isolated when it happened. And it was like right at the beginning of summer too. So it was just like
Yeah.
sucked.
So how do you think you like having gone through it? How long of the process was it?
Um, I think from what I remember, I couldn't really even walk for like 4 months at least, like 3 or 4 months. Like I couldn't put any weight on it. And then I was in like I had like crutches, like wheelchairs and all this shit. Um, and then, once you can kind of like start walking again, you're your muscle is just super weak. And then so you can kind of walk around and stuff, but then you you can't really skate for a while. So altogether, I mean, it's been like a year, and it's still I would say like I'm on the last leg of the recovery now. But so yeah, like a year pretty much.
Yeah, you said in some interview, I believe you did it in I was reading up on it in March of 2023, so pretty recently. Uh, that you're trying to make a comeback in skating due to the injury that you had that kind of set you back, and you were like on the painkillers and all those things where it's kind of like self-regulated, to be honest with you, and it's pretty nuts like when you really break it down and think about it. And in any case, you were saying how this thing that happened with the injury, it messed up your life and it was very difficult to deal with, but then it might have actually been a good thing. What do you mean by that, that it might have actually been a good thing?
I don't know, just like everything kind of happens for a reason, I think. And um yeah, it kind of just led me to like getting sober, and then just like becoming more aware of like my health and how important it is and that kind of stuff. And just like not taking it for granted as much. And I don't know, just kind of like redefining this new time in of my life.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know if it was like a great thing, but I think there's different ways of like framing it.
Do you see your life as something that's kind of been just that, like different phases and different time periods? Because when I think about you, you know, this is the first time I've talked to you, but just for a long time as someone who skated his whole life and been really into all these things, um, it really hit me before this conversation that like, wow, holy shit, like this is someone who at a super young age has been in some sense of like spotlight, some sense of like not very traditional normal things happening to you. And it kind of seems very back to back. Like the more I delved into it, the more I realized like it's really been one thing after another, one thing after another, and all very organically, right place, right time, and mixture of like talent and passion and all these things going down. And it reminded me of a conversation I had with someone, and they said that like when they got scouted to be in this film, it kind of changed their life at such a young age. They didn't really know what they were going into and how that was going to impact everything and how that's going to essentially change your entire style of living. Um, now that you're like the whole cherry thing is been done, do you ever think about that time period and say, like, holy shit, that was pretty fucking crazy?
Um, yeah, yes and no. I mean, I feel like not really that much changed in terms of like my lifestyle. Um, it was crazy that I got to just like skate in and be in a video with like all my heroes, at such a young age. That was, you know, I can definitely like be proud of that for like my whole life.